I'm Kate, 58 years old. I'm working as a neurologist at a university hospital in France. Taking advantage of my daughter's short-term study trip to America, I'm back for an extended break. How many years has it been? Visiting the university hospital, my former workplace, brings back nostalgic yet painful memories. Sitting at the cafe terrace I frequented during breaks, sipping coffee, 18 years have passed. The view outside has changed slightly, but under the same clear blue sky, I suddenly recalled those words. I prefer a smart child born to a 23-year-old woman than a child born to an older woman. My ex-husband's sudden words left me speechless. What do you mean, huh? It's obvious. As a doctor, you know the risks of older pregnancies, right? Your statement isn't about maternal health or childbirth itself exactly. It's about the child's abilities. What? Why are you bringing this up now? You knew this from the start, didn't you? That's why we pursued fertility treatments. Well, that's true. I did want a child then, but the circumstances changed. I don't understand. I genuinely couldn't comprehend. We, a doctor couple, me, a neurologist, and him, a plastic surgeon, struggled with infertility for 2 years before finally conceiving at 40 after fertility treatments. Overjoyed at the pregnancy, Noah, my ex-husband, became overly protective until the stable period. Friends, colleagues, and family joked that the real challenge starts after the baby is born. Amidst our happiness, yet within months, we faced a situation where those initial words were uttered. Did you really not realize? Huh? Didn't notice what? I was doing outside the house. There was no way I hadn't noticed, yet there was the reality of an expanding family a few months later. This can't go on, I thought, mustering up my courage, waiting up for Noah's late return, attempting to initiate a conversation numerous times. On that day, I waited again. Welcome back. Oh, you're awake. Yeah, I wanted to talk. Whether Noah knew my feelings or not, his indifferent response was all I got. Hey, got an invite for the hospital's dad class today. Do you want to go? Huh? Apparently, most husbands attend the class. I'm not going. I said I'm not going. Not interested. Not interested? I'm a doctor, you know. I've seen countless pediatric patients. I don't have an issue with kids, so isn't that enough? But raising our own child from infancy is totally different. Even though I'm a doctor, I have no clue about childbirth or parenting. It's beyond my imagination. That's your perspective. Mine's different. I'm fine, so I'm not going. End of discussion. With an uninterested air, Noah exerted pressure, but I missed the courage to continue. One of my colleagues mentioned she saw you. Cheating? She saw you recently in the city, arm in arm with a young girl, happily shopping in a department store. Oh, really? Was that person stalking me or something? No, she just happened to be there for something and saw you. But she decided to gossip to you using the word cheating. If it's untrue, that's slander. Right? Huh? That's not the point. That's exactly the point. You realize I'm being suspected, right? It's a story where no one knows if it's true or not. So, is it a lie? Well, my clinic emphasizes beauty, so it's staffed mostly by young women. Women can be tricky with each other, right? To placate them, everyone needs equal treatment. As the owner, I offer meals, shopping, and relaxation to acknowledge their hard work at a popular clinic. So, you're doing the same with other staff, not just the person my colleague saw. Well, you could say that. So, neglecting our family for that, Noah? Understand this. Without those girls, the clinic wouldn't thrive. They support our income, right? So, isn't it thanks to them that we can maintain our household? Calling it neglect is a bit much, don't you think? Noah smirked as he spoke, making valid points but spouting the lowest of words. What's relaxation anyway? Is it a code for hotel escapades? My colleague mentioned seeing him entering a hotel with a woman. The hotel's name they mentioned is one Noah often uses for business dinners. Upon hearing it, I instantly felt it was damning but couldn't say it out loud. Maybe Noah had been hiding such activities since the early days of the clinic opening, redirecting his attention outside once money flowed in. After that, he seemed to hide less, spending less time at home. We're back to that opening phrase. One day, as soon as he came home, he called out to my bedroom, "Come here." I wonderingly opened the door to find a flashy young woman sitting on the sofa smiling thinly. "Ah, is she the woman my colleague mentioned?" My murmuring caught the attention of Noah, quick on the uptake. "So, this girl here is going to be my official wife from now on, and she's already pregnant." "I see. So what happens to me?" "Divorce, obviously." "You can't get a divorce so casually. Casual or not, I have to take responsibility for this child." "And what about your responsibility to me?" "Money, money. I'll give you more than enough. There will be a divorce settlement anyway. I could even give some money to that belly child. It's coming from your old-fashioned womb. I'll provide enough to cover any shortfalls, so just hurry up and sign it and disappear." With that, a pre-filled divorce form was placed on the table in front of me. The woman smirked, muttering disgusting under her breath as she looked at me. Being in the same space as these people is unbearable. Above all, I realized that it's impossible to consider Noah as my husband anymore. From there, things moved quickly. We agreed to involve lawyers and decided to have me hold on to the divorce form. I didn't want to live in the house we shared anymore, so I swiftly packed my essentials into a suitcase and left the house. 18 years later, returning to America, I never expected a chance encounter. Lost in thought, I noticed a figure approaching nearby. Just as I turned to look, I heard a voice I never wanted to hear again, "Kate." The voice resonated in my ears. It was Noah. "It's been a while." Unable to ignore the greeting, I replied with a neutral tone. Approaching me, he chuckled and spoke again. "What, you come back from France with your tail between your legs? You went to France, right? Feeling the pressure and came back to rely on your alma mater?" His mocking grin seemed to reveal the true nature of the person in front of me, leaving a heavy feeling in my gut. Just a regular homecoming. My child had things to do in America, so we're here together today. "So, that child from back then is no one else, I see. Why are you here together? Is that child sick or something?" His words left me speechless. "I prefer a smart child born to a 23-year-old woman than a child born to an older woman." Noah's words from back then resurfaced, and my heart ached once again. As I struggled for words, footsteps approached from behind. "Mom," Grace called out. "Who is he?" The unfamiliar man seemed to be accusing me as he noticed me sitting there, shrinking with utmost caution towards Noah. Grace checked the man, and upon seeing her, Noah glanced at me suspiciously, smirking. I said to him, "This is Grace, my daughter, and biologically your daughter, too." My words left Noah wide-eyed in shock. It's not surprising, even just from appearances. Grace had a tall, beautiful, and elegant figure. Moreover, if she's coming in and out of here, Noah must have heard about those rumors. Once again, while carefully choosing his words, Noah asked me, "Wait, could it be Grace from the surgical research lab?" Bingo. Grace is here for a temporary stint in the surgical research lab. Noah was speechless, and I couldn't help but laugh. The child he abandoned before birth has become an outstanding medical student after 18 years. Moreover, Noah had assumed that a child born from a geriatric pregnancy would be less than stellar or even born with some kind of defect. He would never have imagined that such a child would become a beautiful medical student. Surprised, aren't you? The woman you discarded, who used to talk about geriatric pregnancy, has turned out like this. Well, Grace is skipping grades, so she's a second-year medical student at 18. She's already graduated from university. I couldn't help but smile at Noah's clueless reaction. Don't you know about the education system in France? Noah asked. Shut up. Considering how knowledgeable you are, I thought you would. Noah lightly apologized and bit his lip. He has huge pride. Even during our marriage, he would show his displeasure at the slightest remark from me, and even now, approaching 60, his attitude hasn't changed. I said quietly, Grace graduated from high school at 15 and then from college at 17. She's worked so hard, even though I'm a single parent. She's such a wonderful daughter, both inside and out. That's how I truly feel. Grace is my pride and joy. However, out of frustration, Noah threw out a statement that couldn't be ignored. You must have pulled some strings using your doctor's authority or something. What? You're probably a professor or something over there, right? With that kind of power, you could manipulate anything, whether it's high school, college, or medical school. Don't underestimate me. Don't lump me in with you. That's you, isn't it? Sending your child to the bottom rung courses in the high school and then struggling to even get into a university, let alone a dental school. You pulled some strings and managed to squeeze your child into some low-ranking medical school in the countryside, right? How did you know that? Well, I met someone who was your classmate in junior high and high school and heard a lot of things. Noah, caught off guard by this unexpected turn, seemed to be on a quest to find out who it was. Who was it? He asked, like a child. Annoyed, I ignored him and took a sip of the coffee poured into the cup in front of me. The familiar taste made my troubled heart feel a little calmer. One of the hospitals affiliated with the university, where they accepted her as a clinic run by an American person, seemed to want me to start working at the university hospital right away. But, I was pregnant at the time, so he suggested I teach at the university while working part-time at the clinic. It turns out he knew about me over there, and he asked what happened to Noah. Of course, I didn't know anything about that person, and when I asked why he knew me, he said he had heard about my background and my husband. I've heard some things, like just because you're rich, you belittle people or use your money to play around with girls. Noah's family were landowners in the countryside, typical wealthy landowners. So he had power in the local area, plenty of money, and he could do whatever he wanted. As an only child, he fit the stereotype of a typical bully perfectly. Who did you hear that from? Spit it out, he demanded. It doesn't matter who it was. You're famous, right? Your actions were talked about among your classmates and friends, so it doesn't matter who I heard it from, does it? I responded, attempting to silence him. Still trying to say something, he continued. That person told me that I was being used. At first I didn't get it, but after listening carefully, I understood. You, who came from the countryside, and me, who has been living in the city, we met for the first time at our new workplace, and I didn't know anything about you. Not knowing your past made it convenient for you, right? I asked. Do so. You figured it out. Yay, that's right. Both of us were new at work, and I had just come from the countryside where I didn't know anyone, and you, who had also just arrived, didn't know about my crappy past or my character. You were convenient for me. What's wrong with that? I finally admitted. So, I throw my words at him like a barrage. But that's not all, is it? You wanted a talented child, a child who could negate your own complex, right? So you wanted me. No, you wanted my position in genetics, didn't you? I accused. You wanted my outstanding position in genetics, which are the opposite of yours, didn't you? I challenged. What do you mean by opposite? Don't say stupid things in front of the child, he retorted. In front of the child? You shouldn't say things like that in front of this kid. He tried to protect his pride even after admitting everything. The sheer pettiness of this man made me sick to my stomach. Don't worry, Grace knows everything, I stated. Everything, including the fact that you tossed aside both Grace and me in pursuit of your perfect child and your past, present, everything, I added. What? Did you spill everything? He asked incredulously. I just stated the facts, like how you disappeared before she was born, I retorted. Trying to fool Grace, who's so bright won't work. I don't get it. Noah's loud voice echoed in the quiet cafe terrace. Then Grace, who had been silent until then, spoke up. Don't you think it's cool, huh? Why the heck should I care what a brat like you thinks? He snapped back. Even to someone you consider a brat. The way you live is uncool, Grace observed calmly. He probably never expected to be told such a thing by his child. His teeth clenched with a crimson face. Observing him with a cool gaze, Grace continued. As my mother said, I know everything. Not just about the past, but also about the present, Grace revealed. I never expected you to go begging to the professor who's going to take care of me. I heard the clinic went under. What? Due to repeated failures and plastic surgeries, leading to a drop in customers, embezzlement, and failed investments. Well, it probably all started 18 years ago, Grace accused. How dare you say that kind of thing? It all started when you abandoned my mother and chose a new partner. Noah retorted. Oh, no. Maybe it started when you started to get easy money at the clinic and got dazzled by a woman blinded by money. Their existence turned you into a money-grubbing monster and led to your downfall, Grace fired back. Caught off guard by the truth from his 18-year-old child, Noah's face turned even redder and his lips began to tremble. How about admitting it? You're a piece of crap who ruins people's lives. So isn't it karma that's coming back to bite you now? Don't you see? Grace concluded. Wait, what? You think I'm ruining someone's life? Thanks to breaking up with me? Kate became a professor in France, and you're telling me you're able to attend medical school at the age of 18? It's all because of me, isn't it? Noah protested. What, are you kidding me? It's not because of you. That's just how things turned out. Sure, the divorce might have been the trigger, but my acceptance into the university right after was the result of my mother's efforts until then. And while I'm putting in my own effort to attend medical school early, it's also because my mother always looked out for me. She's always been someone who worked hard and cared for others. And that's why good things come back to her. But for someone who easily discards others and ends up ruining even their workplace, there's a pathetic reality waiting, where they'll have to protect themselves with their tiny bit of pride. In such situations, I saw this side of Grace for the first time. While we've had heated discussions due to differences in opinions, I've never seen her raise her voice or unleash her anger towards someone. I might have had moments where emotions ran high while calmly taking in what I've heard from others, including Grace herself, but I never imagined she would see me in that light and have those faults. Yet, even in the face of Grace's undeniable logic, Noah seems unable to control his emotions. What? You wouldn't even exist if it weren't for me. Everything is thanks to me, huh? How could you say something like that to your child? He exclaimed. It's fine, Mom. I'm not bothered by it. I'm grateful for being born, of course, but, well, technically it's gratitude towards my grandparents who supported you for all those years, Grace responded calmly. He probably didn't expect the topic of his parents to come up at this point. Noah froze with a stunned expression. Even after we separated, my mom has actually kept in touch with me and showed concern for Grace. Well, you wouldn't know anything about it since you severed ties with them after our divorce, Grace continued. What? Are you still in touch with my parents? You must have instigated cutting ties with me to gain allies, huh? Noah accused. No way. Your grandparents gave up on you because you cheated on my mother and remarried a foolish young woman. You barely managed to graduate from medical school with the help of money, then struggled to get your medical license after countless private lessons. Ended up in a mediocre position at a general hospital after barely scraping through an extra year hidden in the shadows under senior doctors. You couldn't stand that because of your huge pride. So you complained to your parents again and got them to open a cosmetic clinic for you. Yet, you got carried away by the plastic surgery boom, started your womanizing habits again that you had hidden during your residency, and began hiring based on whether or not the women pleased you. It's like a harem surrounded by women. And to top it off, you impregnated a nurse over 20 years younger, abandoned your wife and children, and ended up destroying the clinic piled by your parents, all for the sake of those women. What more can your grandparents possibly do for you? Overwhelmed by Grace's rapid-fire delivery of my husband's dark history without stumbling once, Noah stammered incomprehensible words in agony. Seeing his bewildered expression, or perhaps sensing a bug in his brain that made him suddenly calm down, Noah started saying something outrageous. So why don't you connect us? He asked. You asked around in the lab earlier, didn't you? After my clinic went under, I'm struggling to find work. I do think you must be having a hard time even resorting to seeking help from your ex-wife's former workplace, right? Everyone's so cold. So if you, the daughter of Kate, who is highly talented, promising, and widely trusted, after the unfortunate breakup, offered to help your reunited father, they'd definitely help out, wouldn't they? Noah lamented like a tragic heroine while making such abnormal remarks. Grace and I exchanged glances, sighing pitifully. Crying to a child you hadn't even thought about since you abandoned them. That's pathetic and uncool, isn't it? Grace remarked. Shut up. What do you know about me? I don't know, don't want to know, and never intend to know. I don't want to know about someone who, despite being a doctor, can't empathize with others, only thinks of themselves, and ends up causing medical accidents. And seriously, it's strange to come crying to Grace. Don't you have a talented child at home? Just ask them for help. Mine is impossible. I barely managed to get her into a decent private women's college through connections and more money, Noah retaliated. Huh, you solved it with money again, just like yourself. It's not a problem if it's solved with money, Grace countered. Noah, who had just been reminded of his past, heated up again and retorted with a red face. But fundamentally, things like this shouldn't be solved with money. It's wrong to settle the fate of others with money. Sometimes things can't be solved even with money. Do you know that one of the victims of your medical accidents was a relative of my professor? I think it was the niece of my mentor, Professor Ted. She had surgery at your clinic, and there were complications with the facial muscles. Oh, Could it be that unresolved issue that couldn't be solved with money? It seems like you're running away by closing the clinic from the inconvenient cases that couldn't be solved with money, huh? But you know, people in the medical field are somehow connected somewhere, like me. I ended up connecting with your associates and friends. Whether my words were reaching him or not, Noah, his face pale, started sweating profusely and frozen in place, only his eyeballs trembling. It's okay, because it will turn out just as you imagine. Are you so scared you can't even speak? It's your own mess, so it's not something to be scared of. Now, for your own gain, you don't care about others' bodies, right? So just do your best to keep that pitch black spirit caged. At least wait, am I really? Eventually, won't someone come for you? You seem so overwhelmed with trying to secure your job that you haven't noticed at all. You're joking, right? A malicious story like this? No way, it's a joke. You don't have to look for work anymore. Even if you could find something, you wouldn't be able to work anyway. Ha ha ha, you're lying. If you think it's a lie, then think so. Until then, please enjoy your precious time with your family. Having said what I wanted to say, I gently touched Grace's arm, urging her to move. Grace, who returned the touch with her other hand, smiled softly afterward. Grace returned to France after about 2 months of medical studies. America is awesome. The food is delicious. People are kind. The professors and seniors are polite. Discussions are interesting. Seriously, I might consider returning to America in the future. After experiencing intensive involvement with America and the Americans during her studies abroad, Grace seemed to have developed different perspectives and emotions than when she occasionally visited America before. Well, that's good. Let me know if you need anything. I should thank the professors too. While saying I'm counting on you, Grace wrinkled her nose at the sweet French juice she hadn't had in a while. Oh, by the way, he got caught, huh? Yay, during Grace's study abroad, Noah was arrested. It seems that the fact that the failed cosmetic clinic caused multiple medical accidents involving medical personnel was making headlines on news and variety shows in America every day. Surely Grace must have heard and seen enough of it. Grace, who went to study, returned home with unexpected byproducts. But she's 18 now. Until now, she's been too mature, too hardworking. Using one's abilities is certainly important, but I keenly feel as someone with over 30 years of medical experience that medical practice must come with humanity. Medical practice is an act to help people's lives, and the main actor is always people. From now on, Grace will surely grow significantly as a person. As a parent and a senior in the medical field, I will quietly support Grace from behind, sometimes walking together. It will surely be a lifelong activity.